Today we commemorate the freedom in South Africa. For those of you who are not South African, um, I was having a conversation with my kids this morning about, hi Karabo, about freedom, what Freedom Day means for South Africa. I'm accepting you. So I'm excited. Let's see when she comes in.
Hi,
Hello.
Taz.
Hi, I can see you. How are you?
Good, thank you. I'm loving your intro, so please continue.
Oh, yeah, no, I was just saying it's Freedom Day. I had to have a conversation with my kids about Freedom Day this morning. Hi, Kanye. Hey.
Hi,
Um,
Kanye. Our biggest fan has joined.
yeah, I realized this morning that my kids really don't understand what Freedom Day is. So we went on YouTube and showed them a quick video about Freedom Day and what it's about. My 6-year-old is actually quite amused by the fact that we were segregated at one point. So he was like, so is it still like that now? Are we allowed to go to beaches with other people? I'm like, no, my child, it's not, the same anymore.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was quite interesting. Have you spoken to your kids about Freedom Day today?
You know what? I think that is a real topic that we need to have with our education system because I had
Mm,
to teach my children about our past in a meaningful
mm,
way. We had the child exhibition where they learned about Sophia Town, and it was the first time that they learned that, oh, black and white people never used to live together like we used to. Black people were
yeah.
considered inferior at one point. So I do have continual discussions with the kids about apartheid and the legacy that we're still trying to battle and come from. They go to townships
Mm,
and they don't understand why people live in shacks. So I definitely think that is a topic we need to address. Just
yeah.
interestingly, Lufuno's like, well, it's Freedom Day. Why can't we go out if it's Freedom Day for just this one day, And it was a process to explain that. Hello, Coach
Yeah,
Roland. I see Coach Roland is joined. It's my
oh, hi,
favorite.
hi. Yeah, my
Favorite.
son was saying, so if it's Freedom Day, does it mean so today we're going to be free to be out of lockdown for the rest of the day? Like, no, my child, sadly not. But that will come. So how are you? How's lockdown been treating you and the girls?
Girl, you made me put some makeup on for the first time in a long time. So I feel kind of special today. I'm quite cognizant of the day. Otherwise, we've been fine. It's a lot of schoolwork, a lot of work. And how are you? How have you been?
I woke up only realizing this morning that today was a public holiday and relieved that there's no school work today because I get messages from 9 till 2 o'clock for my daughter's school. I was like, thank you, Lord. I get to breathe a little bit. Hey, Kaz.
Hi, Kes. Hi, Musa. Hi, Lodge. I saw all those people joining. We're so grateful.
Yeah, I think the internet is a little bit slow because the weather's a little weird outside, but we can still like talk. So the today's topic was about success, right? And I wanted to talk to you about this because I think you brush this off every time. I'm like every time you're doing something or you're in the paper or magazine, I'm like, that's my cousin, y'all. Like yo, people don't understand. But you have gone through this journey and we've had like a long conversation about personal things in our lives which I didn't know, but I know that it's not easy for anybody. And when we see you, you've got this outlook of, oh my word, you've made it, you've kind of gotten really far, you didn't need any leverage from anything else, you studied, you have this business. So I want to know from you, what is it that got you to where you are? Why did you want to become a lawyer, and why did you want to start a football agency?
Well, first of all, can I just say when you propose this topic, I'm like, Marlies, why such a scary topic? Like, and especially like the perception versus the real success. So
Mm,
I must put the caveat out there to say like anything we discuss is our personal views, right? Because we're not purporting to be subject matter experts in this
yeah,
regard. We're not saying so.
yeah,
Having said that in mind, I do regard myself as only partially successful. I do regard myself as having not attained what I set out to attain. And so whenever someone calls me out and is like, oh, you're the first football agent, or oh, you manage large, or oh, you such a brilliant person, I stop and I introspect at that moment to say, no, don't say that, because I'm on a process, I'm on a journey. But
Yeah.
the topic, as you put it, had made me introspect and really say, well, actually, I can take the gains. And I think that's what's difficult. We tend not to take the gains of how far we've come. Get the material, get the gains, get the recognition, then say you're successful. I now have since had a very different view of what success is. You know, it's more circular. It's about the journey. So I have 8 areas of my life that I work on. And depending on how far I am to the goal, I then say, okay, I've reached somewhat of success in this area.
Yeah. So do you do the vision board and the lists sort of a thing? Like, these are the kind of things I want to achieve this year. And I know for a lot of people for 2020, my vision board is like mad at me. Yeah, mine's on the wall over here. Yeah, my vision board's like, girl, you got to push some of these things back a few months.
Yeah, no, the 2020 vision is suspended for all of us, you know.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean we can't work on other areas, particularly self, which we have to deal with right now.
Yes.
You have to deal with self. There's a lot of healing and introspection and like real areas that you can deal with within yourself. You know, I think mine has been the element of not really dealing with the failures that I've had to have in my life. And I had to look at that and heal and deal with that. So I am using the vision board in a way where I have to focus on self now, because that's what I can do now. But definitely I have a list. I have a vision jar, you know, I have
Oh,
the
that's
8 goals,
cute.
the 8 goals for 2020, and they're all like consistent, you know. So yeah, I have lists. And you?
Well, I have lists everywhere. I'm a list person, so I write lists in everything and every way. My only thing is I cope with this lockdown situation a lot different than I was intending to. So for me, I've had to just really just stop everything that I was doing. And then I got so caught up in schoolwork that it was difficult to focus on myself. But I'm finding with these kind of conversations, this is where I thrive. So having these conversations helped me open up the areas that have been dormant now, because I've had to focus so much time on my kids, which I usually don't do in my life because my work is so busy all of the time. But otherwise, I'm getting there. I'm writing. I keep telling people, like, I think the lockdown happened because God was yelling at me to start writing, because he's been talking for like 5 or 6 years now. And I've just been like, I don't want to
Yeah.
hear you. Like, not
Yeah.
right now. So
Yeah.
I'm forced to get that started. What I wanted to know from you is this whole outlook of success and how people look successful. You know, we see them in magazines and TV and all that, and we think, oh my word, this person is so amazing. They've done all these amazing things. But there's a personal perspective, like you were saying, on success. What is your idea personally for yourself of success? Does it have to do with internal growth, with healing, with all of the things that we're forced to deal with now? Or do you think that this external success plays a big part in what successful actually means to you?
So I think you have to go down to what success means for you, right? And I'm one person who's rooted in faith. And so for me, success is along the lines of what God says success is, you know.
Yeah.
And for instance, God says that I've given you a specific gift, you know, a special gift, a special grace, a special covering, which is then poured into purpose. So that's how in Ephesians, right? And so I believe that the only way I can say I've been successful is if I'm successfully operating in the area which God gave me a special gift in. And I find that for our family, interestingly enough, because I had to really dig deep to prepare for this, we as a family, on our father's side, my side, and your mother's side, we really have a unique threaded gift of speaking into people's lives, serving and encouraging people. And so that can manifest in different forms. For me, it's been the ability to help players turn pro and encourage them and speak to them into their lives to say, look, this is not the right now. You know, we're walking on a journey, and God said I'm gonna start with amateur players and bring them up, you know.
Yeah.
For me personally, being able to walk a journey with a particular individual or people, and really get to a point where we have progressed on the journey is my calling. And that's where I think I'll be successful, because being an agent and the first female agent means nothing if I can't do for others, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
You being this media personality and having a media company will mean nothing if it's only in the bank account and doesn't
Yeah.
transform people's lives. So for me personally, that's what success is, you know. What is it for you?
For me, it's a lot of things, but we grow up with this idea that, oh my word, success means I need to be doing all of these things. I need to be slaying. I need to have money, and unfortunately, we keep reinforcing this idea to our children. But I find that in the last couple of years, it's more about being self-aware. I need to be self-aware and understand where I am and why I am where I am and why the things that happened in my life happened. It's attached itself to my purpose, because then I know how I can help people. So majority of our media sort of stuff that we do, and the Owning This Life channel that I started, was to try and help people understand that your life is not what it is by mistake. It's what it is because there's a purpose behind it. And your goal and your job then is to figure out what purpose is attached to the events that happen in my life. I don't necessarily believe in things like coincidences and all of that. But at the same time, I feel like a lot of us are just living to get by and living to get to the next step. But you're not successful if you have $1 million in your account and you know nothing about yourself personally, or you know nothing about what drives you. I mean, money can't drive you. Cars, nice things can't drive you. You know what I'm saying? And so for me, that I've reached that level of success for myself, where I understand myself a lot better, so I can actually help people understand themselves a lot better. Yeah, I think that's what it is for me right now. Hence the reason for these lives, because I feel like these conversations are not happening enough. And it being Freedom Day, South Africans, my biggest gripe with South African people is that we tend to believe that, okay, our past happened, we just have to deal with the consequences of that, and then we're going to work till we die, and then that's the end of that. But at what point are you asking yourself, am I impacting anybody's life? Even if I don't have much to give, what am I giving that is making me feel fulfilled? Because then you know you found a level of your purpose somewhere.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you.
Yeah, so you are a lawyer on top of everything else, and a mother and a wife, and people say I'm busy. Like, I feel like you're like, yeah. How is being a lawyer like in this time? Because you can't leave your house. But what kind of law do you practice? Let's let the audience know.
So yeah, I'm an employment lawyer, which feeds well with sports law. Niche employment is an area that I love, working with sports players. So I'm an employment and sports lawyer. And, you know, I'm going to be real, because I said going into this, it's very easy to give the fluffy stuff, to say, oh, this is what the perceived reality of success is. This is the real success. I struggled with my associateship, especially after the practicals. You know, you'd study 4 years or 3 years, depending on your undergrad studies. And then you do your articles, which is just slave work. You have to do it. You have to be a qualified lawyer. And then you go into associateship, which is you practicing. And because I come from a very hardworking we value hard work in my family, I struggled a lot. I thought that, you know, because the conditions were that you have to make target, you have to work hard, you have to put in the hours. That's exactly what I did. And I worked myself to no end. You know, I would be at the office at crazy hours at 2 o'clock, thinking, like, very linear: work hard, enjoy the fruits, work hard, enjoy the fruits. And I'm not saying that's not the way to go, right? I'm not saying like the fruits, you have to enjoy the fruits, But
Yeah.
something was suffering because my children were suffering, my marriage
Yeah.
was suffering, my family life was suffering. I remember you at one point looked at me and like, you know, this is not you. And I think that that's what we have to always balance and dangle in the pursuit of
Mm.
this success. You know, if you go on this pursuit to say, oh, I want to be the best lawyer, employment
Yeah.
lawyer there is out there, or I want to be the best football agent, or whatever area that you're in, you always have to check in with yourself as to, as much as I'm here, what is my family life like, you know? And people will
Mm.
come into the streets to say, oh, you're doing everything, but some things do suffer along the way. And I had to
Yeah.
use the end of 2019 and the end of 2020 to reassess my goals and go, actually, family and spiritual life is on top of everything
Yeah.
else. Yeah.
But it's, I think when you know, when you're driven, it's easy to get caught up in the fact that I've worked so hard for this, so I need to just keep pushing those goals. But
Yeah.
I think the lockdown for me right now has made me recognize how little time I actually spend with my family compared to working. Because I mean, we fly a lot. And before the lockdown, just before the lockdown, I was supposed to be gone for 2 weeks flying up and down in the country. And in the time I spent with my kids, some of the conversation that we had, I realized I thought I was home a lot more than I actually am. And we now have conversations that I thought we were already, you know, past. Even, you know, marriages are the worst things affected by this idea of I need to keep pushing for success. And me and you know both the kind of struggles that we have to go through to try and keep marriages sustainable.
Yeah.
But and you know, when you're working with your partner, it's a whole other ball game.
The pillow talk is work. I know what you mean. Yeah. But
Yeah,
I
you're
have so
talking
much
work
respect
and
for you.
logistics, and then there's like no in between.
I have so much respect for you, Marlies, because you left corporate, you know, and you said, I'm going to go back and do my own thing and work in the area of my calling, you know, with my husband, with my family. And I think
It
that
wasn't that
we're
easy.
often so hard on ourselves. We are often so hard on ourselves. And if one thing, and I've looked at you, is how you rear your kids, you know, and how you raise your family. I think the one thing we need to do is be kind to ourselves.
Yeah. I
I
think that's the
really
most difficult thing when we're driving ourselves to success. It's more difficult to understand that we need to take a step back. Because I was actually saying now in the last couple of days, I've picked up 2 stress sticks on my eye and on my lip, and I couldn't understand why. And this morning when I woke up and realized the kids didn't have schoolwork, I was like, it's that. Like,
Mm.
it's that that's stressing me out because I wasn't taking a step back and understanding this lockdown is I'm teaching my kids. I've homeschooled them before. I enjoy doing it to an extent, but what I was doing was turning it into a job. And I
Yeah,
needed to be successful at that one thing.
yeah,
And my
yeah,
kids needed to go. My idea was they needed to go back to school and slam the exams and beat everybody because then I would know, everyone would know I was the mother who put in the work and the effort. But I wasn't giving myself a moment to breathe in that
yeah.
time. How has been balancing work and your kids at home been? Because I mean, if you are in the kind of lawyer that you are, it means that you still have work continuing right now because the big discussion is working place and labor and everything right now and what's going to happen after the lockdown. So how have you
I,
been able to balance the two?
yeah, I mean, if there's one area of law that is certainly thriving in the lockdown, it's the employment space for a lot of law firms because there's a lot of curious questions about health and safety in the workplace,
Yeah,
retrenchments, and working online and remotely, and issues of leave and how they apply. So I've
yeah,
been fairly busy still. I've been locked in arbitrations where we're conducting disciplinary inquiries by Zoom, you know, and then in
online.
walks your daughter on some like, yeah, when are you making the noodles for us? But I've been blessed in that we have, I just want to show you um, a board there, if you can see it,
Yeah,
whereby we basically set out our days, and they know that, okay, mommy Monday to Wednesday is in an arbitration, so daddy has to step in, you know, and mommy's free up until this time. My husband has
yeah,
been phenomenal. On the days that I can't like be there in the 9 to 5, then he steps in, and it works so well that when I'm
yeah,
down, He's up, and when he's up, I'm down. So this week, for instance, I've got no live arbitration going on, so it's my schoolwork week. And so we'll write on the board that, okay, mommy's the team leader for this week. This is what we have to do. And like you, I'm very much like, if there's 100 to achieve, like we got to get 92%, you know. And one of my daughters is not really like that, so she'll turn off. What this period has done, it's taught me how to set certain goals for my children, which are flexible and breathable and success for them. So for one of my daughters, like 60% is her success. The other one is like, like 298. That's her kind of threshold. So I've had to also breathe and ask for help. I've had to breathe and like plan ahead, knowing what's coming so we can deal with it. Yeah.
Now, I like the way that you've managed to understand what the level of success is, because I think that's one of the good things for about right now. We think that our children need to be like super achievers and be doing all of these things at school, and we think that's what's happening. But when they come home, we realize that their level of understanding of a success for them personally is a lot different than what we think at the time.
Yeah.
But so that's actually really great for me. I just thought, you know, my kids need to be phenomenal at everything. But I'm starting to learn that my one son, the teacher kept telling me that he's so, I couldn't understand why. He's an avid reader. But he's get distracted really easily. Now we already have a remedial child at home, and I'm starting to pick up a little bit of areas that he needs to work. Can you hear me properly? There's a lot of feedback.
Is there? Let me just rearrange. Someone's coming in. Hi, Tango. I'm still on a call. Sorry, I can hear you fine. I'm just rearranging. Can you hear me?
Okay. I think the feedback is coming back from me. Okay. So I'm finding that my version of success and theirs is also very different, which is teaching me a very hard lesson in myself. Which was not something I was planning for. So now with everything happening,
you learned a lot about your kids during this time.
I've had to. You know, I have 4 kids. Like there's no moments to even use the bathroom on your own. Like, my name is Mommy. They're gonna put in my ID, Malise Mommy Jogiet, because they call me 200 times a day.
I guess you were brave. I hope are you having more?
No, I'm done. I'm like, Lord, you did what you did. Now me and you need to consult because this ain't happening anymore. And my daughter asked me this morning if I took a pregnancy test. I'm like, really? We're not doing this again.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, we're dealing with teen mouths here. So what I wanted to say was, so with everything now kind of on hold, sort of, you still doing your lawyer work and doing your arbitrations and stuff. What do you think success is going to look like for the world going forward now, considering the fact that a lot of businesses are completely shut down, and even now that we're going into lockdown zone 4 or episode 4 of lockdown on Friday, how success for especially corporates is going to change going forward?
So wow, that is a question and a half. You know, I think it must boil down to the policymakers and the legislature, how it responds to this situation. I think I was having a conversation with my friend the other day, Mina, to say, you know, leaders are made and broken in this time, you know, and I think that they set the tone. If you look at what's going on in the United States, for example, as opposed to us, I mean, obviously it's a much bigger country with a bigger population, but the kind of leadership that we've had in South Africa caused corporates alike to really rally behind and mirror what our leadership was doing. For instance, where the president then did a third of the salary of the cabinet ministers to be deposited into the Solidarity Fund. You saw a lot of corporates mirroring with their executives doing the same. So I think it starts very much at the top with your government. And I think that our government has done a lot. But how we are going to really come out of this lockdown is still very shaky. Whether we're easing restrictions prematurely is something that's still going to be seen. But what I'd love to see is how South Africans have almost come together at even a human level. Most of the queries that I've been exposed to in the employment space is, how can we not lose our workers? We might not have the cash flow. So I think the key to this is really going to be mercy and grace. That's going to see us through in this period, when you have leaders who are very much in tune to the people that are serving the companies, and how to get through this period without cutting the workforce, but making maybe adjustments, unfortunately, to things like salary, where you say, okay, guys, we have to take a knock these few months, but this will save us later on. I think this is how we're going to try and slowly come out of this recession that we're in, and this lockdown phase. Now I'm switching the question to you. How do you think we're going to come out of this?
I had a conversation. I have a friend of mine who lives in the US, right? She's from the US, Tiffany. And what she's been saying to me has really rung true to me for a while. She said the kind of things that we're going to see are the things that are hidden usually on a normal day. And we're starting to see like our medical system is being exposed for its shortfalls. We already knew there were shortfalls, but in every country in the world, we're starting to see where the breaks are. They're being exposed, right? So the other thing is, right from the beginning, I felt like we are in a position enough where Africa is going to come out in front of this. We might have a very high amount of deaths, but at the end of the day, we've structured a level of control of this so much that I think that we're going to come out at the forefront of this. We can see how the leadership in the US is falling apart right now. I mean, they are literally at each other's throats. And I'm hoping, like I saw Julius Malema on TV this morning, I'm hoping that our parties continue to work together and not end up using politics in this time. Because at the end of the day, our president has done a really great job thus far, which I think is going to motivate our people to find a different form of success for themselves this year. We know that with internet and online world, South Africa is way behind most countries. But this opens up opportunities for people to find business ideas in other areas. And I've seen so many spring up all over the place. People who are learning things they otherwise wouldn't have an opportunity to do. So I really think it's going to change the way that we operate as a country and the way that we look at things like industry and imports and manufacturing in particular. It's going to change the outlook of our country for the better. And maybe at some point it's going to help us, maybe in 50 years or so, but move from this idea that we are a third world country, because we don't operate very much like one. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like it's going to open up a lot of those opportunities. More people just need to be aware of them and stop complaining on social media.
Yeah.
So, I would say thank you so much for joining me. We need to have a hookup session. The last hookup session we had was too long ago. And it ended on a weird note.
I hear hookup sessions are level 1, so it's gonna be a long time still.
Yeah. But you have work to keep you busy. I'm trying to find work. So, but I'm grateful that from Friday we were able to start broadcasting again. So that's a good thing.
Yes,
but
guys, by the way, my cousin has a show on DSTV. Okay. I must punch you.
It's only my voice on there, by the way. But we're hoping to get Owning This Life on TV soon as well. I haven't been focusing so much on that. But thank you so much for the opportunity to speak to you guys. This is my cousin. My mother and her father are brother and sister. And when we hang out, it's like the best times. But I'm really proud of where you've come. You really are one of the people that I can say I look up to. You kind of show us that being a driving force, especially in your family, helps everyone in your vicinity be successful. Your family in general has showed that, even from your dad and your mom. So I'm really proud of where you come. I can't wait to see what you're going to do for the next couple of years. Maybe my son will be recruited by you one day because he's convinced he's going to be a soccer player at some point. So we'll see where that goes.
Well,
Kaz, thanks for joining us. Kaz is like commenting non-stop. Like that's how other cousin can be straightforward.
And how you there with her laughing emojis. I must say, Merly, so I'm so grateful for you for taking the opportunity to step out of what many of us fear, which is like taking your truth to the public, taking like stories out that are very dear to us, and challenging us to live and own this life, with the many platforms that you do. I think you don't know how much we look up to you and we salute you in the family as a whole, you know. I think there was a prophecy over you to say like you're moving in the area of your calling, and you're going to do great things. So continue. Don't look at numbers, don't look at the bank account, but continue to move in that direction. And you are the one who inspires me. You left corporate and you took a chance with 4 kids and a bond and cars, and you said, I'm going to
Husband.
And you know what? God keeps making your steps firm. So continue in that fashion, continue in that light, continue with
Oh,
God.
thank you. You're gonna make me cry, man. Don't make me cry. But I can't wait to see you. We're gonna have a cool party after the lockdown is done. Yeah. So guys, this is Karabo. Please follow her on all her social media accounts. What is the one that you were saying it's talking with?
So
Conversations with?
So it's no Seated Table, which is essentially a
Oh,
blog about motivating each other's in our walks and journeys, for progress and success. And my sister and I started it, and it's our little pet project that we love so much. So
okay.
yeah,
I'm gonna
please follow
share.
Seated Table.
I'm gonna share some of the links of it on here, and then so people can go and check it out. And then the video will be on YouTube as well. So I'll tag you for that. Our conversation will be on YouTube. So, but thank you so much. Love you.
Love you, cuz. Bye. Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.